Have you ever seen a cow try to lay eggs? Well, you're about to. All right, so check this out. So apparently, I am wrong, or at least completely wrong, I guess, on the Swedish economic model and Sweden and socialism and everything else. Well, again, that's the whole point of this journey and the whole point of what I'm doing, right? Is to learn and try to understand and get a better understanding of the life and the world outside of the United States, because that's all I know, right? Born, raised here, never left the United States. So I'm trying to learn and understand and get a better understanding of really where America stands and how the rest of the world stands, and also, what lessons that I can learn to help, I guess, present a better life for myself and also maybe for my kids in the future. So, again, that's part of the open-mindedness. And the cow thing is, I've been reading these comments. Like I said, I read your guys' comments. I do. And this guy commented, or female, or whoever, but this person commented saying that explaining to Americans that social market economics has absolutely nothing to do with socialism is as difficult as explaining to a cow that it must now lay eggs. Well, I guess, I'm an American, and I'm trying to learn it, so you're about to watch a cow try to lay eggs, or attempt to understand how to lay eggs, because that's what I'm trying to do here. People in America confuse the social programs with socialism, and yeah. So what we're going to do, again, like I said, this is part of me learning and trying to understand and get a better understanding for myself. So I'm going to dig deeper and dive deeper into the Swedish economic model and the way that the economic system works in Sweden, and also get a better understanding of what socialism actually is and what it isn't, and try not to be that typical American that you guys come to know. So that's what we're going to do today. Hit the wrong buttons. All right, we're going to be looking at Economic Raven. This is a video that was posted a few months ago, back in January 26th of this year. And Economic Raven, kind of still a small channel. So again, give them some love if you like this, and if you don't, that's okay. Again, everybody's got their own cup of tea or flavor or whatever. So we're going to be looking at Sweden's socialist lie debunked, the Swedish economic model, and getting a better understanding of what it really is. We're going to jump straight into it and continue on basically this journey. Thank you for watching and making it to this point. Let's get into it.
I know. The title of the video must have triggered some people already, but let us settle this debate once and for all. By now, you must have heard people, especially Americans, saying they do not like capitalism. They say they have something better: socialism. When presented with the facts of what happened with socialism in countries like Venezuela and its authoritarian tendency, they say they have a new variant of socialism called democratic socialism that fixes this issue and in return gives you something perfect, like utopia, like in Scandinavian countries like Denmark and Sweden. But is Sweden a socialist country? Let us dig deep into it. A quick Google search of the basic definition of socialism goes something like this: a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. On the other hand, a definition of capitalism goes something like an economic and political system in which trade and industry of a country are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. If you are finding a country that fits the first definition, your search won't take you to Sweden. The simple fact is that Scandinavian countries are not socialist by any stretch of the definition or imagination. Sweden is a free market economy, with private companies operating for their profits first, which...
So, again, and I just wanted to throw this out there, even though I've kind of already said it, but, growing up here in the United States, I was born and raised right around Tennessee, Kentucky, right on the border. So that's why I say Tennessee a lot of times, Kentucky other times. The schools I went to and everything that I've known, like I said, I've never left this country. I've never been outside, and I've never really put forth the effort to learn the structures of other countries and really outside of what I was taught in school. And we don't really get taught this type of way. You know, we get taught by the textbooks that are outdated, because I mean, technology, the world moves so fast today that textbooks don't keep up. But you know, we don't learn about this stuff in school. So my idea of what socialism is, I don't really even know what socialism is, but I have a vague idea, and then I also have the understanding of what I've always heard and what I've always known. So you guys gotta, you know, take these things with a grain of salt, just like I do, and take my opinions and my thoughts with a grain of salt too, because yes, they are my thoughts and my opinions, but they're also, again, my thoughts, my opinions, and I'm giving my thoughts and opinions on something that I don't know anything about, and I'm trying to understand, and I'm trying to understand it through a YouTube video that you guys have lived there your whole lives, just like I've lived here my whole life. You know, a video, a 5-minute, 10-minute, 20-minute video is not going to teach me anywhere close to what you guys really know, and just like what I really know and have experienced. So keep that in mind. Just throwing that out there.
Which is a hallmark of capitalism. Here, a classical capitalist would just leave the discussion saying there is nothing more to discuss. While having a free market system, Sweden also has very generous welfare programs operated by the government that apparently gives it a socialist leaning. Technically, most of the countries in the world are what we would call mixed economies, with some elements owned by private companies and others owned by the government. But if you insist on calling it anything other than capitalist, you can call it a mixed economy or a compassionate version of capitalism. There have been numerous occasions when people from Nordic countries have denied being a socialist economy. The Prime Minister of Denmark, in a lecture at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, addressed the topic without any hesitation and gave a straightforward answer by stating that Denmark is far from a socialist planned economy, and instead they are a free market economy. The executive editor-in-chief of Politiken, a leading Danish newspaper, noted that the idea that Denmark is a highly regulated society with a closed economy is far from their national reality. The reaction from the Swedes to claims that Sweden is a socialist utopia is similar to that of the Danes. A Swedish public policy analyst named Nima Sanandaji gained global notoriety when he published a book that argued that the global left's obsession with Sweden being a standard for socialism is premised on myths, fallacies, outright falsities, and some half-truths.
Yeah, and I've experienced that pretty quick in the comment section of my video, you know, and hey, again, I'm just going based off of what, you know, the video that I approached and reacted to. I was going based off that information, okay? And like I said, you know, that's no harm, no foul towards them, and I'm not saying that anything that they've done is wrong. That's not at all what I'm saying, or even coming close to. What I'm saying is that was my reaction first time. I mean, really, they think that's the first real introduction to anything other than the economic system that I really know or have been taught in school. So, you know, but I mean, yeah, it's fun. I'm enjoying this, and I don't take it personal.
Back in the 1970s and 80s, the government heavily controlled the economy by collecting and spending high taxes. It was not technically what you would call socialism, but it was something pretty close to it. The current welfare system and labor unions' big influence in politics and high taxes ushered in an era of slow economic growth. As a result, the economy plummeted significantly. Sweden's GDP dropped from 4th to 13th. After 2 decades of slow economic growth, they took a smooth turn with major economic reforms by reducing the government's role in certain aspects, including cutting public spending, privatizing many state-owned companies, eradicating some government monopolies, and changes in inheritance rules. That has to be done to save the stagnating economy. As a result, a change in economic growth was seen, but what did not change was the welfare programs, because you can't give something to the citizens and then take it away. How are you going to get the votes then, right? So most of the welfare programs remain intact, including state-paid colleges and universities, elderly care, health care, child care programs, pensions, 18-month paid parental leave, state-paid childcare, and so on. But the government's regulations on these welfare programs didn't work in the best possible ways.
Okay.
Solution? Well, they privatized many of these programs too.
Okay. No Robinhood.
While
Alrighty.
you keep hearing of how big a utopian heaven Sweden is, no one talks about how Sweden's economy heavily relies on the free market, free trade, and competition. The same free market economy is what pays for Sweden's attractive welfare programs. If you are under the impression that Sweden takes from the rich and gives to the poor, we have bad news for you. Sweden is no Robin Hood. Just like any other tax system, the average and low average earners are the ones who are squeezed more. Sweden has a lower corporate income tax compared to what an individual pays.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I don't... At no point did I assume that you guys just, took from all the heavy, big money and gave and did that. It's not... I mean, if you think that and that's what you assumed, then... I mean, yeah, but at no point have I ever thought that it's... again, I didn't necessarily have a... Oh, there was a comment about an unbiased opinion, in which that's true, right? An unbiased opinion is still your opinion, so it can't really be unbiased. But I don't really know much about it, so I'm kind of coming with a blank slate. I mean, I understand... I don't know. I really don't even understand capitalism. You know what I'm saying? I really don't, because I've not really ever got into it like I am now.
The Constitution of Sweden does not have any specific economic, political, or religious ideology attached to it. In short, nothing like People's Republic of China or the Islamic Republic of Iran. It is officially called the Kingdom of Sweden, because first, it is a monarchy, but it also has a parliament. In short, having a parliament and democracy make it look like any other Western country. While Sweden has a king and a royal family, their role in politics is limited.
I did not know that. I didn't know you guys had a king and a royal family.
Long story short, Sweden is a monarchy along with a democracy, a king, and a parliament. Scandinavian countries sit at the very top of almost every global index, including Life Expectancy Index, Quality of Life Index, Prosperity Index, Democracy Index, Global Entrepreneurship Index, Least Corrupt Countries Index, Happiness Index, Work-Life Balance Index, and so on. So it's no surprise that Sweden and other Scandinavian countries...
You know, when I learned about monarchies and stuff, I know that I'm like way behind on where we are now in this video, and I'm, but man, I learned about monarchies and things like that when I was like 9th grade, I think. I mean, 8th grade, maybe 7th grade. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm telling you guys, I'm not joking whenever I say that the education that I received, I mean, yeah, you guys can laugh and make the comments and whatnot. Use me as an example for whatever you want, but also understand that, I mean, I joke about being a statistic, but there's a reason why I say I'm a statistic, and there's a reason why a lot of people outside of the United States look at us and view us the way that you do. The comment sections and whatnot, I enjoy it. I like, the criticism and whatnot. It helps build character. Not only does it help build character, but it helps me kind of gauge where to go and where my understanding is lacking. And therefore, I need to really try and grasp a better understanding of it, right? I mean, it would be silly for me to blindly ignore that pretty much my last video had a lot of flaws. So for me to ignore that would be a problem. But that's not the point. The point is for me to grow and prosper. So just like you're going to grow and prosper from learning from me if I don't ever stop talking.
Show up in the news even during the election campaigns of many countries. But let's highlight some of the facts that no one usually talks about. The country is notorious for its high income taxes on the middle class while significantly low corporate tax rates. In Sweden, the ownership of the means of production and the allocation of capital is largely a private affair. Swedes like to own things. They can start companies, and in fact, it's easy to start a company. Many famous names started in Sweden, including IKEA, Minecraft, and Spotify. Sweden's high schools are a perfect example of a free market economy. Many schools are private, also referred to as independent schools, but students receive vouchers from the government for their tuition, but the students are in charge of choosing what school they want to join. This is very similar to charter schools in the United States or academies in the United Kingdom. The competition between private schools is what makes them offer a better quality of education. The population is an important factor too. Sweden has a population of over 10 million, whereas America has at least 10 states that have more population in each. The kind of model Nordic countries have implemented could only have been possible in smaller countries where people are most like-minded. In short, there is less diversity of beliefs and values, and everyone is more or less on the same page compared to other countries. Sweden ranks very high on the Equality Index. Income equality is calculated by the World Bank using the Gini Coefficient. An easy way to understand is that it's a number between 0 to 100. 0 would indicate that everyone in the country has the same income. 100 would indicate that one person gets all the income. South Africa and Zambia are some of the countries with the highest inequality and are marked by the Gini Coefficient of 57 and 54 respectively. The United States and the United Kingdom are at 41 and 34. Sweden has a Gini Coefficient of 28. Only a few countries rank above that. They also don't have any overarching price control policy or a policy on minimum wage, but the wages for low-skilled jobs are higher than that in the US.
Yep, we've learned that too.
That is influenced by the labor unions. Some also say that the labor unions have disproportionate power in the country. Marginal taxes, also known as progressive taxes.
Yeah, but we have unions, obviously, in the United States, and a lot of our factories have unions, but at the same time, we have a lot of companies that will find every way possible to get rid of you for talking about being part of a union or for trying to unionize. You know, they will fire you, get rid of you, find any way to dismiss you in a heartbeat. But I don't have a problem with unions. I don't have a problem with unionizing, you know, and I know a lot of people that work for unions. You know, there are union welders, there are different things that work for unions, and they love it, and they have done it their whole lives. So I don't have anything against that, and I don't see personally a reason against it, you know. So to say that they have too much power, I don't know. What are your thoughts? You guys live there, I don't.
Is another reason for income equality. At its maximum, the top Swedes pay at 57%, and it applies to all income over 1.5 times the average income in the country. If we compare it to the Americans, their top marginal tax rate is 37%. Another difference is that you need to be making over $518,000 per year in the US to be taxed at 37, whereas in Sweden, you're taxed at 37 when you make just $82,000 per year. While Sweden has one of the least income equality, the wealth inequality is a different story.
That's the part people don't like, and that's the part that people talk about, and that's the part that obviously me as an American, we look at that and like, dang, you know, that's a lot of my, that's a large portion of my income going towards taxes. And why should I pay for someone else's education? Why should I be paying for the 40 years that I'm working as an adult? But yet I'm paying for your education. That's the typical response you get, right? And that's what you would expect me to say, right? Because that's what I hear a lot. I hear that all the time, man. I hear it all the time. I do. I hear it all the time. Whenever conversations about free healthcare, whenever social economic or, you know, any type of benefit programs like this, not necessarily welfare, Section 8 housing, food stamps, and all that. But when we even just talking about healthcare and education, boy, it's usually the same type of response. It's different, but it's the same response.
When it comes to wealth inequality, Sweden is the second most unequal country in the world after the US. Their wealth Gini coefficient is 84. In short, their wealth gap is one of the highest. So, if you think Sweden is just taking money from the rich to transfer it to the poor, you could not be more wrong. Sweden has the second highest number of billionaires per capita after Switzerland, and the business owners and entrepreneurs know how to be taxed at a flat rate of 30% by taking dividends from their company.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do here in the United States also with investing. If they're invested in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all that good stuff, whenever they have dividends and they have, you know, the money that they make back, a lot of times they'll use those dividends or they'll use that interest to pay a large portion or all of their taxes and then still have their actual earned income, you know, their capital gains is paid because they used their dividends, which was just extra income to them.
The short answer is Scandinavians' case as socialist heaven is discussed more by the politicians and social justice warriors than the economists. This debate is particularly alive and well in the political theater of the United States of America, where some politicians name drops Denmark, Sweden, Finland, and others as the epitome of democratic advancement. These politicians rhapsodize about the gains available to the citizens of Sweden, especially when they're on the campaign trail canvassing for votes during elections. They woo the American electorate with promises of benefits.
You guys are being all over Bernie.
When Barack Obama was still the American president, it was reported that he remained amazed that most countries weren't governing like the Nordic countries because that seemed to be the way to go in his estimation. In short, your opinion on Sweden's case is more influenced by who you're listening to and your preferred political ideology.
Yeah. You're exactly right, sir.
All Nordic countries are free market capitalist countries. They operate like any other free markets. They're fully open and can trade worldwide like most of the countries in the world. The difference comes in their welfare state. Social security in Scandinavia is much more generous compared to other free market economies. This may come as a surprise, but most of the Western countries have a social democracy where governments intervene to give some welfare benefits to the citizens, although that happens to different extents in different countries. That does not mean the country has become socialist. Neither social democracy nor welfare state is synonymous with socialism, and social democracy does not mean the end of capitalism.
What city or what place is this? I'm assuming obviously it's in Sweden, since we're talking about Sweden. I'm hoping, but we are talking about the Nordics and whatnot right now. So, but where is this place at? I really do like it, and I really like the the monument, statue, whatever you want to, however you want to label it. But it's really neat. I like it. So, interesting. Sculpture.
For any system to work, trust is one of the key factors. And it looks like people in Nordic countries have a high level of trust in the government. Just like many countries have a cycle of high corruption and low trust in the government continuously feeding into each other, Nordic countries have a cycle of high trust in government and low corruption feeding into each other. Applying the same model in other countries or suggesting it is just unwise, but everyone should learn from it. Is Sweden's welfare system great? Yes. Can you call Sweden a capitalist country? Yes. Can you call it a mixed economy? Yes. Is Sweden a socialist country? No. Can we apply the same model in other countries? No.
Awesome. So that was the Economic Raven video for Sweden's socialist lie debunked, the Swedish economy. So I definitely learned quite a bit more, and I feel that I have a little bit better grasp, right? Maybe like a pinky grasp, one pinky, just enough to have some type of interaction here. But like I said, I'm going to continue learning more about the economic system in Sweden, but I'm also going to continue learning about the economic system and the economic workings of the Nordic model, and all those types of things. So it's something that I'm actually very interested in. I hope that you guys can see the actual level of interest and engagement that I have with this. And if not, then hey, cool. You made it this far and you hear me saying this, so I appreciate that a great amount. So anyways, that's it for today's video. It's me, Bryson P. If you liked it, that's great, that's wonderful. And if you didn't, that's great, that's wonderful. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down. I'm not going to be mad either way. I appreciate the fact that you're here and interested in what I have to say. So thank you very much. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.